Hello, hello, hello. So, for today's postpartum motivation conversation, I thought, let's talk about the roller coaster of postpartum recovery, especially since we have such a mixed bag of people who are in this community at this time. As of today's recording, we are at 62 members strong. We are growing, and we have been on this journey together for just about a month, putting our health first, putting our families first, putting ourselves in a place where we're better able to serve everyone because we finally prioritize serving ourselves. But it isn't always easy, and if you know, you know. And if you're in this group, then I know you know just how difficult that can be. So for today's ride, we're going to get some motivation around this roller coaster. We're going to think our way through it by actually stopping thinking, stopping the need to give ourselves a reason, and starting to lean into the strength of our bodies and our body's ability to do even when we don't know. So you can see on the screen that we're getting started. We're selecting a ride. Today's going to be a low impact 20-minute ride. So it's going to be nice and easy for us. But we're still going to be engaged. We're still going to be moving and grooving. So if you're watching this and you're doing an indoor stationary bike workout, if you're on the Peloton, get to it. We're going to be doing a Hannah Corbin low impact ride. So if you want to join along, go ahead and pick one of those. And if you are unable to join along in that, then go ahead and listen to the sound of my voice because we are getting motivational today. And just because I happen to be on my bike doesn't mean you can't use this as your podcast while you walk, while you jog, while you row, whatever it is that you enjoy doing. Just feel free to take me along for the ride. All right, and I'll be excited to carry you with me through this exercise. So, postpartum is a journey that we often feel is marked with grief. And we also, as a society, treat it as if it's going to last for about 6 months. And I feel like it begins far before the baby is born, far before the baby comes into our home, the child comes into our home. And it extends far beyond what our male-dominated medical field believes is the case. Yes, we give ourselves the extension of 7 years, but it goes far beyond that even. The experience of becoming a parent, becoming a nurturer, becoming a mother, it begins before the baby arrives. And our awareness of our future separation is instantaneous and simultaneous with our awareness that we are carrying this life, that we are going out to bring a child into our home if we're adopting, that we're endeavoring to change our lives completely and forever. And so the roller coaster begins with a drop. It begins with a bang, right? We are cast out into this space of being carers, of being nurturers, with what feels like no harness, with what feels like minimal preparation. And it's our job to hold on tight to that ride, but not too tightly that we can't enjoy it. To scream out with the fullness of our lungs, but not so loudly that we disturb the next rider. There's a desire for us to embody this experience deep within ourselves. But in many ways, what feels like a social outcry to keep a lid on it, to keep it closed in, to keep it tamped down. And I say this even to the aspiring mothers who want to be in that position, the aspiring nurturers who want to be in that position. Those who don't have a clear plan, but know that this is a part of the future that they want to see. It's not always so open, the space for us to explore the feelings that come along with that desire. But we're on that roller coaster together. we hop into a loop and we fire up and we go even faster as we climb that first hill. As we descend that first hill and we pick up even more speed, just as our legs are carrying us faster, faster, and that pedal stroke is getting stronger and more sure and more certain. And yet, on this roller coaster, it feels like at most we're allowed to have one person sit beside us. And it doesn't feel like a train, it feels like a single car of isolation in this Western society. But it doesn't have to. We can recognize in this outlandishly unpredictable experience that is the postpartum roller coaster that there are other cars, other tracks, intersecting points that don't lead to us crashing out, but lead to us conjoining our cars and riding together, screaming out in elation, screaming out in fear, screaming out with pleasure, allowing every element and every aspect of what it means to be postpartum be a part of our journey together. We can ride the corners as we go from imagery and questions to holding our little one in our arms. As we go from appointments and conversations to bringing our child into our home. We can hop up, jump up, enthusiastically, and take with us all of the grief. That we can carry all of those things at once because we've carried someone's whole world. Inside of us, outside of us, it is part of us, whether we made that life or we fed into the flame of a life that was already here by giving it a little bit of our own. And we can dig in and we can smile in the pain of all of that. Recognizing that as we acknowledge ourselves and as we acknowledge one another, that our children are growing and changing and getting stronger and more capable and independent and powerful, just as they were supposed to, just as they are supposed to. And we can allow that to fuel our journey, to take a page out of their book, to be growing human beings ourselves, to manifest something that many others may not even feel is possible because we know a secret. We know that the carrying and the separation and the individuation that goes with postpartum is not unique to the postpartum physical experience. We are manifestors who recognize the wisdom in our ability to take that energy, to take that energetic flow and assign it a new duty, assign it a new responsibility, to take care of our financial foundations, to take care of our emotional foundations, to feed into our health journeys, to fuel our physical exertion. We know how to use that energy for things that go far beyond what the individual experience of carrying a child or bringing a child into our home is for. And that's what makes this community so strong, is that when we dig in and we keep our form, when we use our core to hold ourselves in place and minimize the sway that pulls us one way or another, when we use our legs to Maintain a solid, straightforward track, keeping our knees forward, sitting our butts back, holding our shoulders high, keeping our chests elevated, locking in through our neck all the way to the top of our heads, keeping our pedal stroke even, horizontal, and steady. We are capable on a level that we can barely understand ourselves, except that we know we've done it before. We can call into our lives absolutely everything that it is that we need. And so we show up and we get on that ride every single morning, knowing it will be different than yesterday, and trusting that we will be different than yesterday, and believing that that difference is an improvement, that that difference is an adaptation that brings us closer to the version of ourselves that we long to see, that version of ourselves in our vision, that version of ourselves that our bodies will carry us to, even when our minds do not believe. It's a version of ourselves that our mind's eye can see, that our feet carry us to with every decision that we make, that our heart keeps us locked into, even when our brains disagree and try to bring us back to a reality that isn't true, because we believe in this future version of ourselves. And therefore we are that future version of ourselves. We just haven't manifested those things on the outside of ourselves. And the craziness of that is only if we look at it through a lens of right now, today, and we look back at yesterday. But postpartum people know a secret. Postpartum people know the secret is that when you've carried someone, when you've carried through a process where there was no one before, and at the end of it, have someone in your arms, that it takes a special kind of lunacy. It takes a special kind of delusion. It takes an unfathomable kind of faith to look at that flat belly in the beginning, or that empty belly in the beginning, that tiny uterus in the beginning, and know that it will stretch and hold a human being, that our hips will crack and let them go, that they will remain bonded with us for as long as we will nurture that bond. But that they will also individuate and become someone, show us, not even become, they will show us who they are. That all of who they are is in that kernel of their being, and that they will blossom in front of us. We have to believe that in our bodies, whether our minds can comprehend. hands together into your heart. I love you, and bye.